You know what it is. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Get established. Let's go.
Welcome. This is the Get Established Show Live, where we're all about awareness and support of our community, building within and beyond it. My name is Shine, and I'm here with my brother, Chiller, D. Jones. Please like, share, and subscribe. And smash that like button for our up and coming shows. A link will be provided in the chat to join in the conversation or comment in the chat. Smooth. All right. As always, the individual opinions expressed on here do not reflect the show as a whole and the goal of joining in and supporting our community. So, with that said, D. Jones.
What it is? What's going on,
All right,
fellas?
bruh.
So what's up?
How y'all
All right.
weekend been, man?
It's been good,
Good,
man.
good,
Good.
good. You know, it's the big weekend here.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, you already know, man. You
mm-hmm.
already know. And that's
Yes.
today's episode, man. Today's episode is about the Queen Mothers. This is special because first of many shows are honoring the first ladies in our lives. So let's jump right into it, brother.
All right.
First of all, I want to give a shout out to my mom on Mother's Day. I already gave her a shout out earlier, but I'm gonna give her a shout out again. Happy Mother's Day. Um, I hope you enjoyed your day. I know what you did because I talked to you, and I know Chilla talked to her too. You want to say anything, Chilla?
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to my mom, bro. Mac. You know, I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't talk. We respond through texting, but yeah, I wished her a happy Mother's Day, as well as I want to give a shout out to my other mother, Janie Jones. I want to give a shout out to my aunt, Dewana Everett, who's like a mother to me. My aunt Priscilla, as well as my two queens who passed away, Lizzie Jones, my grandma, and my other grandma, Miss Annie Gray. Both of those my queens who passed away as mothers.
Absolutely, man. You know, Auntie,
Yeah,
she
man.
got a
Yeah, my
night.
auntie. I forgot my aunt Audrey too. She
Correct.
passed away.
Aunt Priscilla got a 90th birthday coming up, man. So I
Yeah.
just throw that out there. What about you,
Yeah.
Sean? What's up? You want to give anybody a shout out?
Yeah, I want to shout out my moms. Just letting her know that hey, look, I love you. I appreciate everything you've done for me. In my life coming up. I know my mother. She's a she's a quiet one. So I know out of all everybody that know me for being the quiet one and not doing much talking. That's who I get it from. Just wanted to shout out her and just letting them know that hey, look, this is you know just doing in honor of you and everything that you've done for my life and for everybody in the family. Also, I want to shout out my mom in my mom in Georgia, Miss Joyce. She took me in when I became part of the church down in Morrow, Georgia, called Travelers Rest. She was I just I'm of course me being from a whole different state. I'm just there, just trying to just trying to find a place to go and just just worship. But you know, the thing about it was, no one was like some of these more newfound churches where they're like, oh, go and speak, hug a neighbor, speak to the neighbor, and all this stuff like that. Being all touchy feely in the beginning, or you don't know people. So I'm not that touchy feely, when I'm just getting to know people. So you know, them allow me to kind of build a relationship with them, and just her, kind of being one of the first to embrace me. I just I really appreciate that. She's always, invited me to, dinners and stuff like that. And, just want to shout her out. You know, thank you,
Absolutely.
Miss Joy Springfield.
Absolutely. And let me just say, I want to give a shout out to all mothers on today. Hopefully, you had a beautiful day. You were able to spend time with your family and be celebrated. I salute you. This is your day. With that being said, we're going to jump right into it. Interesting thing about me and Chris, we have the same mom, of course, but my mom moved away from Virginia when we were at a young age, and we were actually raised by our grandmothers. I was raised by my mom's mom, and Chris was raised by my dad's mom. With that being said, both grandmas had a hand in helping raise us. So I want to give a shout out to those grandmothers that are raising their grandkids. Trust me, y'all are making a big impact in their life, and it's very important. And I salute you because this is something that you didn't have to do. You already raised your kids, and I just wanted to salute you. With that being said, let's jump right into the questions. What is your fondest memory of your mom? Anybody can pick that up.
I think, me growing up, man, I always was around the more elderly people. So, other than my cousins, me growing up, man, you learn a lot of different things. My grandmama always, both of them, but, showed me a lot of things from, me. I had to learn how to do chores at the house. And you look at it, how some kids grow up, that is totally different. But, me, before I could even turn on Saturday cartoons, man, you had to vacuum the floors. You had to sometimes clean the baseboards. You had to do the bathrooms. And then, my hustle, even after all that, after that morning, is to go with my granddaddy, and he would cut grass. I would just go out there to rake leaves or go climb up on a roof and clean out the gutters. But just being around my grandmama, man, teaching me certain things at a young age, like even when I was going to school, how to go ahead and boil eggs and make my own breakfast. She taught me how to be a young man and be responsible, even though, at the time you didn't want to know. 'Cause I used to even fuss, why you showing me how to cook? That's something a girl do, you know what I'm saying? And she would always say stuff like, just in case you don't have a woman in your life that will, be there to cook for you, you know how to do for yourself. But it just made me self-sufficient, to be always how to dress a certain way. And then because of them, and my grandmama made me be around so many people. You always had to act a certain way. That's why I say I was always like Two Face in the street. I'm a wild hooligan around the young people, but around adults, I knew how to shape up and act a certain way because it always got back home how he was out there acting. Because even in church, she kept you in church. You doing stuff, and even in young, singing in the sunshine choir, doing stuff with her. It's always, you don't look at life until you glance back when you get older, the things that have made you the person you are, the man you are, or how you handle life, or how you do things. Uh, some people don't experience them. Just like I did not even getting off mothers, but just saying like me and Dirk talk about fishing what I did. A lot of people ain't experienced that crabbing. We was crabbing since we were little kids, like 5 and 7. Every time my dad had us, we were out there crabbing as young kids. So it's like it's like even with your mom, we go to the strawberry patch. We had to pick up stuff growing it out there in the gardens, which we had gardens. I had to get out there and pick butter beans and do stuff with corn and didn't like it, but it taught me the fundamentals of life that some people never experience. But just to have somebody in your life, and when they're gone or when you get older, you look back and reflect. You miss them days. You miss talking to them. You miss the wisdom they were giving you, the advice, even though you didn't understand it then. The things that were said, all that's very vital, and you would do anything. And I'm gonna tell you the biggest things we always talk about is both of my grandmas could cook. You miss the taste of their food, the way they used to jam and make food. You definitely when that's gone, you be like, man, I would do anything to taste one of them biscuits they made. The way they scrambled the eggs, the way they did this, the way they made these patties, the way it's phenomenal. And you can never, some of the daughters might mimic. Like my aunt Didi could do certain things, but some of the stuff our grandmas used to do, man, you miss
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely, absolutely. Sean.
All right. Well, let me jump in the hop on the chat where Natasha says, she want to give out to her moms. Now let me know if I said pronounce it right. Marshall and her built-in bestie and her shero. So
No doubt, no doubt.
shout out to the moms of pushing producer. You for me, mine is my mom's. She was always encouraging of me when I brought her whatever artwork I did when I was in school. Um, that's one of the things that I always cherish about her because she she'll put anything that I ever made, just put it somewhere, hang it up or hold it. Like I remember the first thing I made for her was it was like this name tag made out of toothpicks. I glued it together and had some alphabet cereal back in the day. I forgot what they called it. I forgot what they called it cereal, but I just used that cereal to spell out her name, and she hung it up on the wall. She got like big um, this big fan in her room, like it's a big straw fan, and like all the stuff that I made for her that was like you could hang up. She put it on that fan. Um, like I made her like a little fan out of cardboard and yarn. Um, and then I made like a big card for her, and drew some stuff in it, and she just kept it up there. All that stuff she just kept for since I was in grade school. So that was just a thing that I really was encouraged and appreciated her. It was my fondest thoughts about her.
Cool. I know for me, I got two stories because I had two women in my life helping raise me. That was my grandmother from my mom's side and my grandmother from my dad's side. I'm gonna start with my grandmother from my mom's side. She worked as a nursing aide, but her days started early in the morning. But she always made sure that she woke me up from school and made sure I had a hot breakfast before I left. Some of the things she used to make fried apples. She used to take apples, cut them up, put cinnamon on them, and fry them for me. That was like the best thing. She would make home fries in the morning. She would do things like, I mean, I know cream of wheat is instant, but she would make cream of wheat for me. But she always made sure that I had a hot breakfast. She always made sure that I got up and I got ready and saw me out to school every day. And I just remember that. And I'm thankful for having her in my life. And this continued from middle school, well, elementary school, all the way to high school. She always made sure that my day started out correctly with something to eat. She thought that was very important to start my day. Now, with my dad's mom, one of my fondest memories, it was one time that me and Chris were hungry and we wanted breakfast, and she would always ask us what we wanted. And I think I told her French toast, and we were starving. So she asked me how many French toasts I wanted. I said something ridiculous like 10. And she might have asked Chris, and he might have said 12. So she told us, she said, okay, y'all sure y'all want this? We said, yeah. She said, if I make this, y'all better eat all of it. We gonna eat all of it. I promise you. We gonna eat all of it. She made that French toast. I might have got through 4 of them, and I was struggling. Chris was over there struggling too. But the thing is, Chris had a dog. He caught a dog over there. It was feeding the
There
dog
you go.
the French toast under the table. So when Mama Jack, that's what we called our grandmother, when Mama Jack came
Uh,
back in the kitchen and saw
uh.
that Chris had finished his food, she was like, okay, Chris finished his. What you gonna do about yours, Derek? And she had a belt in her hand. And she was like, oh, you gonna eat all that food? Because I asked y'all, did y'all want all of that? And y'all swore to me that y'all gonna eat it all. So you gonna eat every bit of that. And I
Man.
swore. I felt like I sat at that table for about 8 hours. Trying to get all that food down. Chris outside running, jumping, playing, coming in, laughing. Derek, you ain't finished your food yet? Man, it was crazy. But but I remember that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, because the dog was full on me, man. I know I threw him about four, man. That
And
dog
I,
was
and, and I
he was
couldn't.
on his back
The
full.
dog would eat none of mine because he was full
Yeah,
all
he
quick.
was full, man. That dog was full. 'Cause I was full. Everybody was full. They were trying to get him some. The dog didn't want no more. He was like, no, I'm good.
And look, also,
They were like,
you know,
I'm good. I'm full.
this out to the you know, the listeners, viewers. If y'all want to, you know, shout out your mom, you're more than welcome to come in, comment in the link, you know, in the comments, and just, you know, saying shout out your mom. You know, if you want to, you know, get on live here, you can. You know, just, you know, maybe a minute or two, not too much, just to, you know, just shout out your moms. We all, you know, we all about
So,
you know, giving it up for the moms today.
I got one more before we move on. I have one of my fondest memories of my mom. My junior year, I was playing basketball and I had a basketball injury. I got hurt pretty bad. I had to have oral surgery. I had one of my teeth knocked out while playing basketball. I had like 42 stitches. And I remember her flying home and spending that time with me. She took me to the movies. We went to see New Jack City. I never forget that. We went to see New Jack City, and just kicking it with her that whole time that I was recovering was pretty cool. You know, I felt close to her in that moment, and it meant a lot that she actually took time off from her job because she was in another state. And I know that's what moms do, but as a child, you know, you especially when your every day is your grandmother, you might not expect your mom to take off for work and fly in to see about you, but she did, and I just want to give her a shout out. Appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for being there when I needed you. Um, Moving on to the next question. What was the best lesson you learned from your mother?
Mm,
Well,
that's hard.
let me jump in here, because I think everybody knows this from me. Because I mean, you said it one time, D, about how you felt about all us, and one of the things you said you got from me is, you know, you just listen. I listen and be quiet and observe things, because you don't know. You know, you learn a lot by just observing and looking at things, because you know, some people are quick to, you know, just jump in and, you know, do whatever, you know, and sometimes that's not always the case. Sometimes you want to just kind of, you know, peek the scene and then just you know, a clearer view of what's going on, you know. But that's just one of the lessons that, or the main lesson I can say I learned from my mom, is just kind of just, you know, just sit back, chill, um, and just, you know what I'm saying, don't be quick to rush to conclusions or whatever. Just get all of the facts first, and then, you know, you make your judgment based off of that. But just, you know, sometimes just shut your mouth and be quiet and just listen. You learn a lot from that.
Sure. Chris?
Like I told you, man, my grandma told me so much, so it's kind of hard. Like, just being responsible, accountable, and watch yourself and how you carry yourself. I mean, they always train you to look a certain way, neat in front of people. Always have on, if you get hurt, make sure you have on clean drawers, everything to wash behind you. It's like always being just how to take care of yourself, how to handle yourself, how to be a certain way. I was always learning that, you know. So it's just that. That's one. And like you said, it's just different things. It's so many because my mind like trying to think about so many different times and things was said. It's like just being responsible in life, man. She taught me how to be a young man because, like I said, some of the things I mean, I can be real. I mean, some of the things I didn't, you know, as a kid, you don't want to do certain things. You just want to have a fun and play around. But she taught me how to be serious at times and put away that silliness. Cause Derek know you. Every second I could find, I'm instigating and starting something to get a laugh out the day.
So
That
I'm
was my
trying to
biggest
figure
thing.
out. I'm trying to figure out when is that seriousness. Well, oh, I know
Yeah.
when you get
When that
mad.
serious?
That when you get mad.
So I
I'm trying
stayed.
to figure out when that came
I'm
in.
like the
Yeah.
Joker. I was like a little Joker. Like on, I stayed around laughing and joking, setting up sceneries for something
Oh,
funny to happen all day.
yeah, all the time. And
That was me. I'm the
I was
Joker, straight
the
up
butt of your
Joker.
jokes. Always the butt of your
I
jokes.
So
was a
you the
Joker. I just
victim.
like to laugh all day.
Yeah, man. I
You was the victim.
always the victim, man. Always. I got
I,
so many stories,
I
man.
like
I think I got them back one time though.
look.
I
But
got them back one.
you
Uh-oh.
gotta realize my joking didn't start there. I got whooping out the whooping. You know, I would get a whooping just to see Derek get a whooping so I could laugh. So it was and then it went on right 10. It's like I would do stuff to my dad and he even when I didn't do stuff I got blamed for it because
So
they knew I
so
was always doing something. So it's like I
so
stayed in trouble.
I gotta
I
share.
stayed in trouble.
Uh-oh.
I
Go.
gotta
Uh-oh.
share. Shout out to Janie Jones,
You know.
Uh-oh.
my other mother. Shout out to Janie Jones. I gotta share a story that Chris, this poor woman, the butt of his joke. So my dad's house got broken into.
Uh-oh.
All right, just got broken into. Maybe a week prior to what I'm getting ready to share with you all. So my dad got. I think they kicked in the door. He got it fixed and everything, but everybody's on high alert because the house got broken into. So my dad goes to pick me up for the weekend. Janie is at home by herself. As my dad walks out the door, Chris walks in the door. So all she hears is the door shut one time. So Janie is looking for some shoes under the bed. She's singing, talking to herself. And Chris proceeds to walk up the house hallway and say, I've been waiting on this all day. I finally got you all to myself. And this lady is trying to crawl up under the bed, screaming for the Lord. Oh my Lord, Jesus, please help me, Jesus, please save me. No, he ain't gonna save you today. Now, Janie has a heart condition. That's the other thing, and she dealt with high blood pressure. And this gentleman is terrorizing her right after the house got broken into. These are the type of things that Chris would do. And she's trying to squeeze up under the bed. And he walk in the room and start laughing. Now once my dad got home, it was on and popping.
I tell you, man, I was a jokester, man. I just like having fun, laughing, tripping off
Uh,
like, man. I stay tripping off like 24/7. So yeah, I mean, at the time you young, I'm about 15, you know what I'm saying, and it was like really when I walked down the hall because I tiptoed in when he came in, and I kind of opened the closet door, and I boom. And I was, oh yeah, I've been waiting all day. You know, I talk like an old country dude. Anyway, then we got, like you said, she was in there doing her shoes, and she was just trying to get up. Oh Jesus, Lord Jesus, help me! It was just so funny, man. When I went in the room and she found out it was me, man, because she thought it somebody, because she was scared to be there by herself. And he was like, I'm just going to get Derek. I'll be back. But I was just me being a prankster. I was sell at 24/7 in school. I was a prankster. I joke. I was a prankster on a bus riding to school. I'm a prankster. We joking. That was just me. That was my personality. I just like laughing, tripping.
Yeah, this dude. Well, for me, one of the lessons that I was taught from my grandmother. Well, let me just give you a backstory. My grandmother and grandfather raised me. My grandfather passed when I was 12 years old. So at that point, and actually before he passed, he was preparing me to be a man. So when he passed, I became the man of the house in so many ways. My grandmother not only took care of me, she looked out for her two sisters. So it was always me, my grandmother, her other two sisters. And I was always around them. And one of the things that my grandmother always taught me, make sure you take care of us. Make sure you open the door. Make sure you always walk behind us to make sure that we're good. Make sure that you always look both ways before we step out somewhere to make sure that we're safe. These are just things she taught me. So she really taught me how to be a gentleman, um, and taught me that ladies deserve to be talked to a certain way, treated a certain way. Um, you shouldn't, even when you're upset, you should make sure that you speak to a woman in a respectful manner. These were things that my grandmother shared with me and helped me understand a way to treat a lady, and I appreciate that. And these things they still are embedded in me to this day. I make sure that it doesn't matter where I am. It's habit at this point. I make sure I open the door when
You,
I see a woman coming. What? Go ahead, Chris.
I was saying it's funny because like I said, the way you raised, as you get older, you still carry them same traditions with you, especially how
Hmm.
you conduct yourself. Because even like now, when I even talk to my aunt, yes, man, you ain't got to call me. I said, look, it ain't even about that. It's about respect. We in an age that people don't respect each other, but I always try to have no. I never let anybody control my personality. I think we are easy to be influenced, but me growing up and having being glad that I grew up the way I grew up, it taught me how, and being around elderly people and being raised around elderly people, it gave me the fundamentals of life, how they conducted each other, how the neighborhood raised each other, and how we respected each other and didn't tear down each other, and how you wore your pants around elderly people, how you talked around elderly people, how you didn't disrespect them by smoking a joint or cussing or blasting certain type profound music in front of them when they was doing. I grew up in an era that gave me to learn how people respected each other. And a lot of times, I wish to God on everything I love, I could bring them days back because I don't see that. But I'm honored to be out here speaking about the women who influenced my life, even Janie Jones, my stepmom. She has did that. I remember times, like we was at Williamsburg, we wanted something, but Janie stood with me and Derry till we got what we wanted. You know what I'm saying? She's been eloquent in my life. You know what I'm saying? My aunt Dewana Everett, she's been a second mom to me. That's like my cousin's mama, but she calls me one of her sons as well as me and my cousin calls us each other brothers. But what I'm saying is that I had women in my life that has influenced me and gave me morals. And I thank God that I seen friends that could do things that I couldn't do that didn't have no morals. I seen friends that didn't know how to react when they was around a real woman or how to conduct themselves around one woman because all they knew was bees. But I have been with women's, no bees. I was raised by women's, no bees, and I conducted myself with women. So it's like to be in the essence of a real woman that carried themselves and powerful, and they knew how to talk and conduct themselves, and they was ladies. Like everybody don't have that experience. You know what I'm saying? Someone would never see that again. I was raised in that culture, man. To see a woman queens, straight 100% queens. So, you know what I'm saying? I thank God that He gave me that chance and my brother that chance to be around strong women that, conducted themselves in our lives and showed us how to walk in lives, how to be young men, and how to do things that some people never will ever, ever in their life experience.
Yeah,
I
it's
want to
interesting. Go ahead, Sean.
I want to say one of the other things I learned is a strong work ethic. I got that from my mom's because my mom, when we were coming up, she worked two jobs. She was she was a registered nurse, and she was a in-home nurse. She did in-home nurse during the day, and she worked as a nurse at night at the local hospital in Portsmouth.
Actually, interesting story. My grandmother and Sean's mom knew each other. They worked together. That's,
Yeah, 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 yeah. hmm Yeah, so she would always tell stories about Miss Gray, and how how they was working in the hospital. But yeah, she just gave me a strong work ethic. It's always, because I'm looking at her and she come home after working one job and then hey, come home, cook, and then hey, next thing you know, get a few hours sleep, and then next thing you know, get up, go work, going to work, 12 to 8. I'm like, just looking at that and seeing how she was doing everything she could to make sure we were good. That made me look at her in that light as somebody that really had a strong desire to do what she had to do to make things make ends meet and make things work for us. Because I mean, I won't. I'm not gonna say that we lacked, because if we needed, she provided for us. So yeah, that was another thing that I learned from my mom is just that strong work ethic, and it's just being being present and being willing to do what you got to do to take care of yourself.
And I want to build kind of on what Chris was talking about. The essence of a lady. It was just different time. And women carried themselves totally different. I'm not trying to really get into comparing today's standard of a woman to back then, but I will say this: uh, they took pride in how their children looked, how they talked, how they carried themselves, because they felt like it was a reflection of them. So it was very important that they instill certain things in their kids because it was an extension of them. And as they grow, they would drill this stuff in you that it became so much that it became habit. And I can see that now when I look at some of my female cousins. Um, when I look at like even my daughters, just the things that I received from my grandmother and my aunts and my mom passing down to the youth. You could just tell when you put the time in and you actually instill certain things in your kids, you see it. You see it. Because you might not think they're listening, but they are. And they're listening, they're watching, they're making sure pay attention to everything you do. And even if they're young, if you think, well, they ain't gonna remember this, they remember it. So we have to be careful what we do in front of our kids, how we communicate in front of our kids, how we act in front of our kids, because they're like sponges. They take that all in. I also want to give a shout out not only to the moms in our family, but the moms in my neighborhood because they were an extension of my family also. If we were out in the streets playing, if we did something that they felt was disrespectful, they checked us on it. They called us on it. If we were out of pocket with our behavior, they checked us on it. They called us on it. So it wasn't just the moms in the house. There were moms in my neighborhood. Just like Raymond gave a shout out to uh, his mother here, his extended mother here in Georgia. We had those throughout our neighborhood. So, times are different now. You have neighbors that don't even know each other. And I've talked about this on previous shows, but you have to be very careful if you don't engage with your surrounding environment. That can come back and bite you in the behind. If you see a child out here doing something, don't be afraid to say, hey, young man, or hey, young woman, that's not right, or this and that. Now, I know you have to be careful because we're in a different time and these kids react different. But you can kind of tell, you can gauge the temperature of the situation, and you can tell a disrespectful kid from a respectful kid.
You know,
Um, Go
I
ahead, Chris.
I kind of ponder on that because I kind of figure like if we could push the clock back and push the clock forward, and you push back 30, well, let's say we go about 40 years ago or 50 years ago and took them strange, strong women and pushed them up here to these young mans now, what would you think the reaction would be like?
They wouldn't be ready for them. They're not ready for that, man.
But I'm saying somehow a loose change got loose for discipline somewhere between time that we just let children be reckless to do as thou will. Put it that way. Those who know what I'm saying do as thou will. And that's where we at now. They can say whatever, they can do whatever. No consequences, no responsibilities. They're entitled to everything. So it's like I'm not even getting in that chapter of a story because we reflecting on the moms. But all I want to say is the women's back then. like you said, it was some strong women's that that even in the neighborhoods that help people, even will feed people, would give certain things to the kids to help kids. Or they would support schools activities, help kids. It's like the neighborhood came together, and women's was a strong foundation in a lot of moms. Even when kids having parents conference and even having things at schools programs, a lot of moms were always there. A lot of moms been there for a lot of times, and a lot of kids, I knew that was the strongest foundation. It is their moms, regardless of some people might not look at life and didn't understand life, or they was in their own mind. Because even me, I was in my own mind growing up around my peers. Because you think you more connected to your peers because they just like you growing up, they're your age, and you trying to communicate with them. But a lot of the wisdom that the elderlies gave me, man, it is like you could say they could say and tell you what's about to happen and how it's gonna happen. And a lot of things was said happen exactly like in my life anyway, where they told me from either my grandma, my dad, everything came down the path of what they said was gonna happen. Like they already could see the future.
All right, well, let me. I want to talk about my grandmothers, because they had two polar opposite, you know, kind of ways that they raised us, or helped raise us. My mom on my grandmother on my from my mother, she was the loving mother, grandmother. She was always the one that was, we come in, she feed us, you know. She was she when we come there, because I mean, she wasn't, especially during the summer, she wasn't big on cooking, but on holidays, she would cook her, she would cook her aunt pots off. But anytime we would come there, she would make sure that she would boil us a hot dog, give us some pork and beans, and make sure she had that sunbeam bread ready to wrap that dog in. But she was that one that was always the one that was just kind of, hey, look, I'm due for you. Because I love you, I take care of you, show you that through the actions that, hey, you know I'm here to support you. During Christmas time, you know, every time we'll get a present from her. You see the present all big. You like, yeah, grandma got me something, boy. You grab that J squishy. You knew socks and drawers, socks and drawers. So I'm like every year socks and drawers.
Well,
You knew that
you
thing.
needed socks and drawers, sir.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was important. Socks and
Oh yeah,
drawers.
Yeah,
it was important. You're
yeah.
right.
You can have holes in your pants, but you can't have holes in your socks and drawers.
Yeah, can't have
Yeah,
holes in socks and
you
drawers.
needed them socks and drawers, man.
Yeah,
You might not
man.
have thought you did, but you needed those, sir.
Don't worry. Shout out my grandma, Miss Grandma, my grandma. I love her. But on the other side, though, was my dad's grandmama. She was the disciplinary. She was the one that made sure that, hey, you weren't gonna play with her in no type of way. You get in that house, don't touch nothing. Don't act like you. Don't run in the house. Don't do nothing. Because if you do anything that I told you not to do, go out there and cut a switch, and you gonna get some of that. You know what I mean?
Oh man,
And
going to
don't bring no
find
don't
your
bring no
own switch.
yeah, cause she gonna go out there and it was a cherry tree out the back of the yard too, cause she made sure you get one of them jokers. She get one of them jokers. Make sure they got that gonna she wear you out. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
Hers was a house that was full of plastic on the furniture.
oh
Mm.
yeah,
Don't sit on the
That's I
furniture.
think all our
On the
grandma house
floor.
was full of. I know mine was full of plastic. Don't step on it in the front room. That plastic
Yeah.
was covered on the
that's
chair.
I mean, everywhere
All of
you
them
went,
covered that stuff in plastic, man.
yeah,
Yep.
man. I'm
They
talking
will
about
cover.
yeah, and
Preserve the
you
furniture in
you
plastic.
Furniture.
you know what tripped me out about Mama Jack, man. The the pastor would come by the house for dinner, man.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he would come by the house for dinner, man. And,
Uh,
I felt like Granddaddy had an issue with that, man.
Uh-oh.
He
All
coming
right.
through, she making sure he get the big piece of chicken, and yeah, I felt like Granddaddy ain't like that, man.
Hey, 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 she gotta take care of Pastor. Pastor gotta get
yeah.
his chicken, maybe he'll put in
All
a
right.
good prayer for her. Pray over the
Yeah,
kids.
I'd say
yeah,
that's another show, man.
yeah,
Hey,
man.
let me
That
let
was
me let
something
me
else.
throw
But go
this
ahead.
out here. Garrett, he wanted to send a happy Mother's Day shout out to the ladies out there. So it's the message is sent and received and put out there, bro.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely. Real
and like
quick, I did want to address
okay.
one thing that you said, Chris. I know, I'm not trying to change gears in the show. I just want to say this when I thought about it. You asked me how would the men today receive the women from the time we're talking about. The one thing about the women from that generation, they didn't tolerate disrespect. And what I noticed was they didn't do much of going back and forth. If you disrespected them, they would remove themselves from the situation. And I mean, the true essence of a lady, that's what they stayed in that. They never took themselves out of that image of being a lady. Never disrespectful. Never any. If they felt disrespected, they would just remove themselves from the situation. I just thought I would answer that. But go ahead, Chris. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was just saying I want to talk about my mom Burrow. I remember when I had got injured. This was probably some years ago, probably 10 years ago. I remember because she always showed us, me and you, Dirk, even when I was in Georgia, how to use stuff to help our skins and stuff like that. She was always, nurturing and care for them. But she put me on game on how to when I was going through certain injuries, how to use certain herbs and stuff like that. So she always been fundamental, teaching me stuff like that always and stuff. But I can always joke on one thing because everybody like Derg and my family know. Like now, my mom, she's a big thing on like I think that's where Derg got that from. I know you got that from her. I got it
Right.
straight from my dad. You got it from her. Going on roller coasters. I remember when I was little and she came down, and that's when Busch Gardens had opened and the Loch Ness Monster first started jumping. You already know how I am up there. You know what I'm saying? Oh, toughen up, ride. She got me as a little Jane holding on. Take this ride. She like that. Me, I'm trying to climb all like a squirrel and jive off this Jane. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't even like the dive because it seems like it when you looking at it, it's going zoom, but when you on it, seems like it's going before it hit to the bottom. So it's like I couldn't stand roller coasters. Never could stand roller coasters and none of them stuff. But
My
she
mom
tried
had
to
one
break
too.
me into that habit of liking them. I mean, but that's just one thing was funny, man. But Dirk, he'll swing. I don't care how crazy it is. It could dive. It could drop poles and be swinging 100,000 feet in the air, and he's swinging and laughing, enjoying it, coming down, dropping. Me, none of that.
Yeah, yeah, I remember like, we were in Virginia and we went to Busch Gardens. You just walked around the whole time.
Yeah,
I remember
get
that.
my
My mom did
exercise.
that too. We went to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Busch Gardens.
Get my exercise on, man. You know me, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy people. I'm the type guy to sit back and enjoy people enjoy themselves. I get enjoyment watching y'all enjoy yourselves. Like Draymond said, silence and sitting back and just observing.
You made me remember a fond memory of a mom also. I just thought about this. It really put me in a situation where grandma was upset with me. After I graduated, I moved to Atlanta to attend college here in Atlanta, and my mom is here in Atlanta. So, once I moved here, she called herself taking me somewhere and giving me a graduation present slash birthday present because birthday and graduation were real close to each other. So we went to this jewelry store, and she told me to close my eyes. I'm thinking, man, she about to drape me out with a fresh gold chain, and all of a sudden I hear click, and she got my ear pierced, just my left ear. Now this is the whole issue with that. My grandmother, because of the era she grew up in, was against piercing and tattoos because, during slavery, they used to pierce slaves, brand slaves, and tattoo slaves. That's how they identified their property. So she always preached that to me and would tell me different stories of how they did that to slaves to ensure that I never got a tattoo or a piercing. So, I tried to hide it from him for a minute, but of course, I go home and she is so hot with me. Not realizing this this wasn't my choice. This was a gift from your daughter. But I got an earful over that, man. I mean, I grew to like the earring, even though I
Uh,
never got my other ear pierced.
uh,
Uh, but she gave me the blues about that. But that's one of the fondest memories about my mom getting my ear pierced, so I could get told off by my grandmother. But
And you were talking about memories. I I'll
uh,
give you this. The only time my grandmother ever put her hands on me, um, my mother's mother. The only time she put her hands on me, we was 'cause we playing out in the neighborhood, and I came in the house, and I ain't washed my hand, and she was in the kitchen. I guess she was cooking. I can't remember exactly, but I went in the refrigerator. I opened the ice box part of, grabbed me some ice with my hand. I ain't wash hand or nothing.
oh man,
As soon as I shut
woo,
that door, all I seen was a
woo,
hand come from out of nowhere and just like pow,
God,
right
yeah,
across the
yeah.
doggone face.
man, I almost
No
took the
words
eyebrow
came
off.
behind it, just the
Yeah,
slap. And after
man.
that, I said I will never again open the refrigerator and not wash my hands before I did.
See how you caught that, and see kids don't get that now. You see how you learned that one time.
It
You
don't take
learned
one
that,
time.
and see they been getting away 100 times. But see, kids will leave the refrigerator open. They'll leave the front door open with flies flying in. They'll trap dirt in here. They'll go right to the bathroom, don't wash their hands, and fix them a sandwich with the bread and everything.
Hmm.
But one slap change your whole. See, you see the epitome that happened in life. See, that was back in the day. That
Back
one
in the
pop,
day, back
that
in the
Well,
one
day,
pop got him right back in
one
order.
pop.
The
Back in
ass
order.
before he do wash his hands. It's a different. It's a different time.
It was the
well, it's
shock.
it, it, it's it's
The
it's
shock.
called abuse now. You do know that, right?
Oh
It's called abuse.
But look, that was just
that one check.
that was just that was just proper discipline at the
I hear
time.
what you're saying. It's still called abuse. You know, they got a number for that. It's 911.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and since they did abuse, now the shooting in the schools, the murder in this high. Before then, see how people went with the narrative. There's abuse, and let them do and say what they want. And you got to can't even talk back to the child. The child beating up on teachers. They won't beat no teachers before then. But when that 911 abuse and you can't touch them, they talk back to the teacher, smack the teacher. Soon as the teacher do something, he handcuffed or she's handcuffed. It's a new world. It's a new world. And I
Yeah.
blame the people who stood by abuse that caused that. Y'all caused this effect, this change in the era. It wasn't like that.
Man, I tell you what, man. I might have been about 14 years old, and I don't know what I did, but my grandmother went and got the belt, and I had made up in my mind I'm too old for that. I'm too old for it. So she swung the belt, and what I what I do, I grabbed it. I grabbed the belt. She dropped the end of the belt. She said, "Oh, okay. You too old to be hit with this. Okay, all right." So she pretended like she was walking off, took her shoe off, came back with the shoe upside my head, man. I'll never forget that. But anyway, hey, let me ask y'all this. What are some of your favorite mom quotes?
Mm.
Mm.
You hard, cause see, I mean, my grandma called us everything from buzzard, the monkey, and she always joked with us. She liked to play with us. Um, she always somehow she loved us. Um,
Yeah.
do
Well,
all
did you?
things. And y'all buzzers come over here. You know what I'm saying? Stuff
But
like
did
that.
you ever hear this one? I brought you in this world. I'll take you out.
I mean, I heard it, but the thing that I didn't like was when I used to get the whoopings. It's gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you, and I always seen this big Kool Aid
Oh
smile on
yeah,
their face.
that,
So that
I
so
never
that
understood
that
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 one.
did seem like an enjoyment, and it seemed they gonna hurt me. I never liked that phrase. I never liked that
My
phrase.
my
That was
my
one phrase
mom
I didn't like.
my mom, she was always sick because we always eating. She said, y'all purged to death. Every time y'all come in here, y'all always flinging that icebox open and trying to get something to eat. Y'all sit yourselves down somewhere. I'll fix you something. God dog it, y'all perished to death.
I know. Yeah, I never heard that one.
Uh, so he
That's
went back in
Yeah.
the day.
Money don't grow on trees. I've
You
heard
heard
that.
that? Yeah.
You don't pay no bills around here. Turn that light
Mhm.
off.
If they walk off a cliff, you gonna walk off too. All that stuff.
Yeah. If if I don't care what time you go to bed at night, you know you're going to church in the morning.
Yeah, I heard that. All that.
So
If you didn't go to church back then, you didn't watch TV, no
all
cartoons, and
that.
I couldn't go out the whole week until you gave the Lord some
I,
reference.
I don't I don't care what you got going on. When that light turn on, you better be on this porch. I
oh
know in Virginia, it was the bomb. When the 9 o'clock bomb went off, you better
oh
be
yeah.
at home.
Hold up, somebody said something about chewing tobacco.
Go for it. That was
I
Alexis.
can't I can't see it all. That's why I'm asking. But
Well, I'm quoting here. You know, Alexis wrote that her said, "You make my asshole want to chew tobacco and spit."
woo, I ain't see none of that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hadn't heard that. That's a new one.
That's
but
what
I'm gonna
that's
tell you
what
a story. Me and my cousin. I ain't gonna name my cousin. Try to name the family because they ain't. But me and my other cousin, we was outside and we were playing around. We had took the cigarette smoking it, and my grandmama came out there, and she caught us playing around with the cigarettes, and we had a pack of cigarettes. She made us chew up the whole pack of cigarettes and
Boy,
swallow it.
boy.
And swallow it, man. That's why I was like, man, and swallow it. And you talk about somebody was sick, man. We was sick, man. He had to chew a half of them. I had to chew the other half, man. And we had to swallow them.
Yeah,
That thing
because
was
Mama
crazy
Jack
right
did.
there.
She did
Yeah.
snuff. She did the snuff. So
yeah,
Yeah, but I'm talking
narcotics.
about
You know, she like
me. I
narcotics.
can't. I'm not gonna call him out, but me and him were chewing cigarettes. I mean, back then not chewing smoking. We were playing around, lighting, smoking, playing around, and she came back there in quarters and made us chew up the rest of the cigarettes, man.
let me ask y'all this. I know we're getting down to crunch time, but let me ask y'all this.
Mm-hmm.
What is the worst punishment that you received from your mom?
Raymond,
No, I never. My
Raymond.
mother never punished us. My father was the discipline.
Oh, okay.
The word was sent back from her to him, and he administered the punishment. So whatever we did,
Well, still, okay, so the word was sent back from her to him. She initiated conversations that gave you what was the worst punishment?
um, when we was fighting in the house, you know, if we did something like, say for instance, we fight, we throwing something, and we might have damaged the wall or something like that, or broke the furniture. Oh, it was as soon as he came in the house and heard, oh, that's what they did. Whoever was the perpetrators, that daggone belt, that thick got daggone belt with the two the holes where you know how you the double holes and all along the leather. So so that jank it'll say it ain't gonna be no drag on it. It's gonna be straight coming. Woo! It come
Yeah.
quick too. Ah, ah.
Yeah. What
That
about
shit
you,
was
Chris?
I don't know, man. 'Cause,
classic.
I told him, man, I got
Classic.
punished so much, man. It came a routine. I was used to punishments, man. Uh, Cause I stayed in trouble. I did something crazy all the time. As soon as I finished one thing, as soon as I did one thing, I was right back in another. So it's like, it's hardest. I think the hardest punishment, man, is when I used to have the week of punishment, not watching TV and couldn't go outside. That was probably the hardest to me, because I had at first it was all right, whatever, man. You go through the problem, whatever, whooping, whatever. Then that week come like, God, man. You can't watch TV. All you can do is look at books and read books. Can't listen to music, and can't go outside. So it's like that. That to me probably was in when I was young. That was the hardest, the
I
hardest
think for
time.
me, this is when I was living with Aunt Audrey. I had a friend, and him and his mom were over. His mom was actually a friend of my aunt's, and he came over and he had some gum. So he gave me some gum. He gave my cousin Ebony some gum, and he gave his little sister some gum. So we all chewing gum. So we go downstairs. Auntie was like, "Where you get the gum from?" So I pointed at him, and he said, "No, I got it from Derek." So his mom was like, "I ain't bought you no gum." So basically they thought I stole the gum because we had just went to the grocery store the day prior to that. I didn't steal the gum. He stole the gum. But because they hadn't been to the store, you know, in the last few days, I got blamed for it. Man, I got put on punishment for 2 months, man.
Uh,
Over something I didn't do. I'll never forget that,
Oh,
man.
oh
Never
that's
man.
forget that.
nice.
Oh, I can tell you a lot of stuff I didn't do. I got blamed and had to take the fall for. But I remember one time, and said there's another cousin. I can't name him. That's when Dad stayed out Cherokee apartment. This early, like
I remember
81,
that. I remember that.
82, and my cousin came back from Cali. He was staying in my aunt. And I ain't gonna even say the aunt Didi. Oh, that's sad. Never mind. They might can figure it out. But he went around claiming he was collecting for jury kids. Him and his other little kid, man. So I'm out there just playing basketball, and I'm watching them. And they like, I mean, they going from door to door, man. And back then, them cigar boxes you could open. And they had one of them, and they had, man, people were giving them money, man. This was on a weekend on the Saturday. They were knocking on doors all out there to their not knowing, they knocked on a police officer's door, and the police officer opened the door and caught and took them and took the money to get a little bit of money and took them to the house. So I'm just bouncing the ball watching this, and I goes in the house. My dad and my aunt there. And she was him. So I'm like, oh, okay. Then call me. And I'm like, what? Oh, you getting a beating too? I'm like, for what? Because I didn't run in the house and snitch on him. Like, what they got to do with me? I'm playing ball. Man, she gave me a lashing, man. And I mean, these one of Irish beatings, because he got beat for 20 minutes. Like, she got a workout now. I got the other 10 minutes of other workout on me. And I'm like, man, all because of something he did. I'm playing basketball, minding my business, but and this is a little involvement. I get a beating too. And I was like that burned my flesh that I ain't
That's
had nothing to
crazy.
do with it. I ain't had nothing to do with the money. I won't partaking in the money, none of that. I'm just chilling myself playing basketball. That was it.
All right.
Yeah, but that's just one case. It's number of cases. It was a gentleman that kind of like grew up to look like me, and I remember my somehow because we stayed by a basketball court, and the gentleman apparently said something slick to one of my grandma's friends, and honestly, we do look alike. And I remember going in the store, somebody threw it, even maybe did. They said it was me, and in school, I remember teachers calling me him, and the crazy thing was he said something to the gentleman without me not knowing, and the gentleman said I fussed him out and blah all this and that, and my grandmama believed it and put me on punishment. So I'm sitting there like mad, like who, like well, why the man lie on me like that? You know what I'm saying? I kept telling him it won't me. I'm like, and I'm scratching my head. Why this man keep lying on me like that? I said, man, I always speak nice to this man, greet this man, blah blah. Why would this man lie on me like that? And then I was real mad. And I'm scratching my head and I'm trying to like figure this out. So son said, man, when you see such and such, 'cause he looked like you. Everybody always, mixing y'all two up. And I went to him and said, yeah, I cussed that old man up, blah, blah, man, kept it. And I'm like, man, I got in trouble for that. But what nobody believed me. Because we did look so much similar. It's like, if you don't really know us and you see us, I could walk past and then he could walk past and you would think we the same person.
That's
But when
crazy.
nobody believe me, man. My grandma still never. I mean, so that when she thought I could cuss that man, and I never cussed that man out, honestly. And another, I want to say something crazy. No, they ain't got nothing. I'm gonna leave that one alone. But I want to say this because we got to close. This has been an hour. I just want to say a shout out to all the women. Mother's Day, my wife, everybody. Shout out, my cousin T-Boo, Celeste Jones, my Nita, Nita Bonet, all my cousins whose mothers. I would like to say Ebony. I mean Adrian. All my cousins. I want to say shout out to y'all. Happy Mother's Day. All
And
my
once again,
sisters.
we salute and celebrate all the mothers. It has been a great show, and I like to end it with this. You know what it is. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Get established. he getting slow in his old age.
I know I am.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. I like to say a couple things in this closing. Of course, join us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X. You know, please share, comment, and subscribe. Uh, I want to say a couple things. Like I said, shout out to my sisters. Their birthday is going to be tomorrow. My twin sisters. Happy Mother's Day to you all. Shout out to Big because his birthday is next week. So shout out to our brother. So his coming up real soon. And I'm gonna leave it off this with a quote from our pushing producer's mother. I'll slap you in the next week. Peace.